Ever wonder why your music taste makes your friends judge you harder than your life choices? Well, buckle up, because science has some uncomfortable truths about what your Spotify Wrapped says about your soul. And before you rage quit this video, remember that researchers with actual degrees spent years figuring out why you cry to Taylor Swift at 3 in the morning. Look, we all pretend music is just entertainment, but let's be real here. Your playlist is basically your personality doing karaoke in public. A massive study from Heriot Watt University analyzed over 36,000 people and discovered that your music preferences reveal more about you than your browser history. Which is saying something, considering what most of you probably have in there. The researchers used the Big 5 personality traits to decode the psychological mysteries hidden in your earbuds. And honestly, the results are so accurate, it's almost creepy. Like uncomfortably accurate. The kind of accurate that makes you question whether Spotify is secretly a government surveillance program disguised as a music streaming service. So let's start with pop music, shall we? If you're one of those people who genuinely gets excited about the latest chart toppers, congratulations. You're probably an extrovert with high self-esteem. You're also conventional, honest, and hardworking. Basically, you're the human equivalent of a golden retriever. Pleasant, predictable, and everyone likes you at parties. The downside? You're about as creative as a microwave instruction manual. But hey, at least you show up to work on time and pay your taxes without complaining. Now, if you're into rap and hip-hop, you're basically the opposite of a wallflower. Hip-hop fans are extroverted energy machines with sky-high confidence levels. You're the person who walks into a room and somehow makes it feel more alive. You probably have more friends than you know what to do with, and your social calendar looks like a military operation. The catch? Sometimes that high energy turns into the kind of overconfidence that makes you think you can freestyle at the office Christmas party. Spoiler alert, you cannot. Heavy metal and rock listeners, this one's for you gentle souls hiding behind all that aggressive noise. Despite blasting music that sounds like robots having an argument, you're actually incredibly gentle people. The irony is thick enough to cut with a chainsaw. Rock and metal fans tend to be introverts with lower self-esteem, but they compensate with massive creative energy. You're the person who writes poetry in coffee shops and has strong opinions about guitar solos. Society needs you, even if your neighbors wish you'd invest in better headphones. Indie music lovers occupy this fascinating middle ground of creative introversion. You're artistic and intellectual, but also slightly anxious and not particularly hardworking. Basically, you're every film school graduate ever. You have strong opinions about authenticity and can spot a sellout from 3 neighborhoods away. Your creativity is undeniable, but sometimes you spend more time planning your artistic vision than actually executing it. You're like the friend who always talks about writing a novel but somehow never gets past chapter 1. Classical music enthusiasts, you magnificent snobs, represent the absolute peak of musical personality profiles. You're creative, introverted, and blessed with genuinely high self-esteem. You probably own books that aren't required reading and can identify at least 3 different wine regions. You're the person who makes everyone else feel slightly uncultured just by existing. The world needs more of you, even if you do make the rest of us feel like we should be reading more Dostoevsky. Country music fans are the stable, reliable folks everyone wants in their corner during a crisis. You're emotionally stable, outgoing, and hardworking. You probably know how to change a tire and make decent small talk with strangers. You're not particularly open to new experiences, which means you've probably been ordering the same thing at restaurants for the past 5 years. But honestly, in a world full of chaos, your consistency is oddly comforting. Jazz, soul, and blues lovers live in this enviable sweet spot of personality traits. You're extroverted, creative, intelligent, and blessed with high self-esteem. Basically, you won the personality lottery. You're the person who somehow makes conversation at awkward family dinners and probably knows interesting facts about random topics. If there's a downside, it's that you might occasionally come across as slightly pretentious when you start explaining why Kenny G isn't real jazz. And speaking of staying tuned, if you're enjoying this psychological destruction of your music taste, consider subscribing. We've got more content designed to make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. Plus, our notification squad gets early access to videos that will further complicate your relationship with your own preferences. Dance music enthusiasts are the adventurous souls who actually follow through on their spontaneous plans. You're open to new experiences, assertive, and genuinely outgoing. You're the friend who suggests trying that weird new restaurant or taking a random road trip at midnight. Your playlist probably sounds like a European nightclub, and honestly, that energy is exactly what most people need more of in their lives. Now, here's where things get interesting from a social observation standpoint. The research reveals something fascinating about how we use music to construct our identities. We don't just listen to music we enjoy, we listen to music that reflects who we want to be. It's like audio cosplay for our personalities. Pop music listeners aren't just seeking entertainment, they're signaling social acceptability. Hip-hop fans aren't just enjoying beats, they're broadcasting confidence and social connectivity. Metalheads aren't just appreciating aggressive instrumentation, they're expressing their gentle rebellion against mainstream expectations. This explains why people get so defensive about their music taste. Criticizing someone's playlist is essentially criticizing their identity construction project. When someone says your music sucks, they're not just questioning your aesthetic preferences, they're questioning your entire self-concept. No wonder music arguments get heated faster than political debates. The really fascinating part is how this extends beyond individual psychology into social dynamics. We form tribes based on musical preferences, and these tribes come with their own behavioral expectations. Electronic music scenes emphasize inclusivity and acceptance. Country music communities prioritize authenticity and tradition. Rock scenes celebrate individualism and artistic integrity. But here's the twist that makes this all even more complex. Most people don't have just one musical preference. Your personality isn't a single note. It's an entire symphony of contradictory traits and situational preferences. You might be a classical music lover who secretly enjoys terrible pop music when you're feeling vulnerable. Or a hip-hop fan who finds solace in indie folk when life gets overwhelming. This musical complexity reflects the beautiful contradiction of human personality itself. We're not simple, categorizable creatures despite what personality tests might suggest. We're messy, multifaceted beings whose music taste shifts based on mood, context, and what we're trying to accomplish emotionally in any given moment. The research also reveals something crucial about emotional regulation through music selection. We don't just choose music that matches our personality, we choose music that helps us manage our emotional states. Feeling anxious? Maybe some calming classical music. Need confidence? Time for that high-energy hip-hop playlist. Want to process sadness? Hello, melancholy indie folk. This means your music taste is both a reflection of who you are and a tool for becoming who you want to be in specific moments. It's psychological self-medication disguised as entertainment. Your playlist isn't just a collection of songs, it's an emotional survival kit. Here's something that should make you slightly uncomfortable. Other people are unconsciously profiling your personality based on your musical preferences every single day. When you share music or mention what you're listening to, you're providing detailed psychological information about yourself. Your coworkers, friends, and random strangers are forming impressions about your creativity, social skills, emotional stability, and intellectual capacity based on whether you prefer Beethoven or Beyoncé. This unconscious musical profiling happens constantly in social situations. Dating apps, job interviews, casual conversations. Everyone is gathering data about your personality through musical preferences. The person who mentions loving experimental jazz is signaling intelligence and creativity. The person enthusiastic about current pop hits is broadcasting social awareness and conventional thinking patterns. Understanding this dynamic gives you a strategic advantage in social interactions. Want to appear more creative and intellectual? Mention your appreciation for complex musical genres. Need to seem more approachable and socially connected? Share your enjoyment of popular music. It's not manipulation, it's conscious communication about your multifaceted personality. The implications extend beyond individual relationships into broader cultural understanding. Musical preferences create invisible social boundaries that influence everything from friendship formation to romantic compatibility. We unconsciously gravitate toward people whose musical tastes suggest compatible personality traits and shared values. This explains why music recommendation algorithms are so eerily effective at predicting what you'll enjoy. They're not just analyzing musical patterns, they're modeling your personality and suggesting content that matches your psychological profile. Every song you skip or replay provides more data about your emotional needs and identity construction preferences. But here's the most important takeaway from all this psychological musical analysis. Your taste in music reflects your complexity as a human being. Whether you're a pop enthusiast, metal devotee, jazz aficionado, or genre-hopping musical omnivore, your preferences reveal the beautiful intricacy of your personality. The fact that researchers can identify personality patterns through musical choices doesn't diminish the personal meaning of your favorite songs. If anything, it confirms that your emotional connection to music reflects genuine aspects of who you are as a person. Your music taste is a window into your psychological landscape, but it's not the complete picture. You're more complex than any research study can fully capture, and that complexity is exactly what makes human personality endlessly fascinating. So keep listening to whatever moves you, keeps you sane, or just sounds good in your headphones, because ultimately, the best music is whatever helps you navigate this chaotic world with a little more joy and understanding.